I just got done reading Ichi the Witch Volume 2, and before we even get into the review, just look at this cover, y'all.
Wow.
Just look at the way the colors shine, and this is a phenomenal cover. I really did enjoy that. And Volume 1 is also a really good cover. It'll be up on screen right there. And I've seen the Japanese covers, so I know what the future covers are going to look like for the English releases, and I cannot wait. I really do love how the artist is using all these different colors in the manga, and even though these manga panels are in black or white, you could just tell that this is a very vibrant, colorful manga. And if there ever comes a day where this gets an anime, I can't imagine what that would look like, as we have seen with Witch Hat and just the manga come to life on some other anime projects. It would be incredible to see this manga brought to life in that sense. But of course, as many of you guys have seen my June TBR, if you haven't, go watch that real quick. It is an amazing video. But this is the first out of, I believe, 14 or 15 titles that I want to get done this month. And as this was the first one on that chopping block, I kind of didn't know what to expect as I read Volume 1, I believe, 2 months ago, I believe, give or take 2 or 3 months ago. So the story was fresh in my head, but it wasn't so fresh to where I was necessarily jumping off my jumping off my bed to get into this book. But I pushed through it, and I really did feel like the first half of the volume was a push. So going into the review, I really did not enjoy the first half of the volume, but the second half is where it picked up, and I was loving the second half. And I was actually like, I was a little upset that the volume ended where it did, because I want to jump into volume 3 immediately, but I can't because I'm only reading physically, so I don't have volume 3 on me. I don't even know if it's out, to be honest with you. But let's speak a little bit on the first half. I was not a fan of it in the slightest. To start the volume, we follow Ichi and his crew, and if you guys are not familiar with Ichi the Witch, we basically are thrown into this magical world where there's magic witches, and there's these creatures called magics, and they're basically wild magical creatures that wield magic against humanity, and that is essentially where we're dropped into. And every single witch in this world that utilizes magic is female. That is very important, because our protagonist, Ichi, he's the first male witch. And that kind of stirs the political aspect of this world in a stir. It's not good. There are some people against it. There are some people for it, and that's kind of where we were dropped into. And the start of this volume, we follow him kind of exercise and get rid of two magics. And I kind of felt like this is where the volume kind of lacked for me. Ichi's a very interesting character because he was a hunter before, and when he is hunting, he uses these like feral animal instincts. And I feel like that's kind of where his character is the best, as we start to see that more in the later half of the volume when he goes up against his S tier rank. And I will say, stepping back from just a plot driven aspect of the story, the art is very all over the place, because on one hand, the art is excellent towards the end of the book when we're in these high battles, but on the other end, when we're just page to page, it's not very good. So it's kind of like, I don't know. For me, the art is all over the place. Like I said, on the other hand, it's good. On the other hand, it's bad. I don't know how to feel about it. Again, only 2 volumes into the series. I haven't seen too much on the series on my feed and timeline, so I'm kind of just going off my own opinions. And I like the art, but I don't at the same time. So I just wanted to get that out the way. Jumping back into the volume, we follow Ichi and his crew exercise these two magic, and then we jump right back into the political world of Ichi the Witch. And this is where I feel like the volume kind of steps up, because I am somebody that likes world building. Of course, you all know my favorite. I always got to give it a shout out when I can. My favorite series is One Piece, so I'm a very, very big world building guy, and I love to just step back from what is going on with the protagonist and kind of see where the world is at. And I feel like Ichi the Witch has a good political world that we have yet to build on very much, but we could get there. And that's kind of where this volume started to pick up for me, because as we see a witch in the higher end of the spectrum starts to like kind of like push back on Ichi. Like, this is the first male. We cannot announce him to the world yet. We have to make sure he is up to the standard. He is like educated. He isn't just doing his own thing, because he is going to represent the witching association. So she goes in and she basically gets pushback from others, saying that this is a good thing for the association. We should announce this, da, 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 da. Like, it doesn't really matter if he's educated or not. Like, he's fine. But she pushes back for the like goodness of the association, and she goes on to say that if he can beat me in a magic hunting competition, we can announce him. If he loses, he has to go into education with me being the teacher. That's very important. So then we follow them in another magic hunt, and this is where, again, the volume picks up. It was very good. The art started to pick up here, which is where I knew there was a lot of big things happening, and I'm a big fan of the paneling in this manga. Not a lot of people speak on the paneling, but I'm a big fan of where the paneling goes because there's a lot of good panels, and I feel like the paneling is really essential to getting these really good panels besides the art. And guys, just look at this paneling. Like, I really do feel like not a lot of attention is brought towards paneling, and I really do feel like it is an essential part of manga and just comics and just this genre of storytelling in of itself, because if your paneling is bad, your story and art is not going to follow suit. So I just really felt like that needed attention towards it. And while there is, because this is a comedic manga at its heart, even though it's a shonen comedic manga. So there are some panels where it's like kind of goofy, but there's also some really nice panels in there. So I thought I should bring that to attention to you guys. But going back to what I was talking about with the story in of itself, once we got through that magic hunt with the higher end witch, this is where the volume really started to pick up. We get to see Ichi kind of get his bloodlust radar really start going, and that is when we see an S tier magic. And this really reminded me a lot of Chojin number 8. And just, there was a really high-end guy, the protagonist kind of like snapped, he jumps into battle, and this is where we start to see Ichi really personality come out, and he is a hunter at heart, and this is what we see in this battle. And his companion, it's kind of like the Asta Devil, where the devil's kind of on his shoulder and he's talking to him, stuff like that. I get a lot of Black Clover vibes also from this story, but we kind of see him kind of tell him to turn away because this guy, and I'm going to pull up the panel for you guys on screen, but this panel got me thinking, and I just got so many Chainsaw Man vibes from when we were in the in hell, and it was just, I don't know, I got so many vibes from that when the astronauts are upside down and stuff like that. But we're going against this guy right here, and he's an S tier magic. And then unfortunately the volume ends, but we get to see Ichi kind of going in hunter-esque, and he is like, I live to hunt people like you. I've always thought of death, and he gives this really nice monologue, and that is where the volume ends. But overall, like I said, the volume kind of half in, not good, half out was really good. So overall out of 10, I would give this like a 6.5, 6.8. To start off the month, it wasn't the greatest with the first half, but it really did pull through in the second half, and I cannot wait to get into volume 3, and God knows when that's going to come out. I don't know if this is a tri-monthly releasing manga or if this is like quarterly. God knows with that. But when volume 3 does come out, of course, I will be right here reading it because I love reading all these different types of stories. If you guys know about me, you know I'm always spicing it up. I'm not just sticking to one volume. Excuse me, one series, even though God, I gotta love One Piece. But this was a 6.5 to 6.8, and I would highly recommend checking this series out. Like, again, in my June TBR, I did say that I did pick up Ichi the Witch to kind of like compare it to Kagurabachi, because I did feel like Weekly Shonen Jump was pushing these two series as their next big series. It was Ichi the Witch and it was Kagurabachi, and I've never heard of Ichi the Witch. So I was like, when this got its English release, I was going to check it out and give it the benefit of the doubt. And I'm really glad I am, because this isn't a bad story at all. It's a really fun story. Like I said, it's a funny story. It's a comedic shonen. So you get your funny parts and you get your shonen tropes, stuff like that. But I really don't feel like the story is fleshed out enough to really give this a proper rating. Like, I don't know what the main character Ichi, what he really wants, if he just wants to hunt, if he just wants to do this and that. Like, I don't know what he wants yet. Like, similar to how, of course, the shirt, Naruto wants to be Hokage, Luffy wants to be King of the Pirates, stuff like that. Like, I don't know what Ichi's goal is yet. So I feel like I gotta let that develop. I gotta let the story flesh out the world more. Like I was talking about with the political world on that side and stuff like that with Ichi. I gotta let it develop more before I can truly give this series a proper rating. But the first volume was good. I can't give you, because I read it so long ago, I can't give you a 10 out of I can't give it out of 10 rating. But volume 2, 6.8, excuse me, 6.5 to 6.8. First half wasn't the best. Second half kind of pulled through for it. So that's the first read of the month. I can't wait to get into more reads. And of course, guys, there will be every single volume, except for Sakamoto Days. I think we're going to do 1 through 4, and then 4 through 7. After 4, we'll get each review, but every single title will get a review from me on this channel. Stay out for that one, guys. And of course, keep reading, keep collecting, keep doing what you guys love. That being said, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.